I'm Dimitris Spachos from Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. The first thing I want you to ask is, how many of you have computer science background? Okay. Great. The first thing I want you to do is to navigate to the MEI website, log in, if you already haven't, and go to the slot page. In this page, you have access to the scenario, to the hands-on scenario of today, as well as two other links. The one is the link of the presentation. Now, okay. I'm going to talk about Ionic framework. Ionic framework is a framework for building hybrid mobile applications. Let's wait a second. Let's wait another second. Okay. Ionic is a framework for building mobile applications. I'm going to show you today how you can start from scratch, build a basic mobile application, produce some necessary artwork, and how you can upload it to the app stores. Let's start with a basic question. I want to build a mobile application. How many of you want actually to build a mobile application? Great. Why, Christina? In the microphone, please.
I have something in my mind
Great.
about cancer, a cancer application and the evaluation of cells. So
Okay.
I was thinking about doing an app.
Do you think it's difficult for a non-computer scientist to build a mobile application? A basic mobile application, I mean. Okay, I'm going to show you today that it's not so difficult. If you want to build a basic mobile application that doesn't use the smartphone's hardware, only displays, for example, some information, it's pretty easy. So let's start. As you may already know, we have a lot of mobile platforms. We have iOS from Apple. We have Android from Google. We have the Windows mobile phones. And also there is BlackBerry, there is Firefox Mobile latest, so we have many mobile platforms. How do we build applications for many platforms? There are cases that either the time or the budget are tight, so it's necessary to write the code once and run it everywhere. That's exactly hybrid applications do. You write the code once with familiar languages and tools, and then the hybrid framework compiles the code to run to each separate platform, to iOS, to Android, to Windows, for example. Hybrid applications are based on HTML5. I'm not going to stick on the details right now. You can ask me later if you wish. Now, of course, it's not 2007 anymore. The first smartphone, Apple's iPhone, appeared in 2007. Since 2007, look at the screen, look at the table, and look how the processor power increased. From 400 megahertz, we are at 1.4 gigahertz. Also the RAM. The first iPhone had this RAM, and this is several times more. So, and this is the adoption. While the first iPhone ran iOS version 1, today, most iPhones, for example, run the latest version, iOS 8. The same goes for Android. Most of the Android phones, almost 60% right now, are running not the latest version, Lollipop 5, but the previous version, KitKat. With these two tables, I want to point that technology evolved over the last years. Okay, usually we build mobile applications in native platform language. We use Objective-C to build a mobile application for iOS and Java for Android. But this has some disadvantages because you have to write for the same application the code twice, one to Objective-C and another time to Java. Java and Objective-C are very different languages, so you need to put a lot of effort and a lot of time and money to do this. For example, it's far better to build native applications, but it costs. Now, that's why, over the years, hybrid frameworks built it. The most known hybrid framework is Cordova and PhoneGap. PhoneGap, developed by Adobe, and the Cordova is the open source version of the PhoneGap, because all these tools are open sourced and you can use it free. Most of the projects use either PhoneGap or Cordova to communicate with the hardware, with the device hardware, for example, the camera, the microphone, etc. Okay, let's go now to Ionic. Ionic allows you to focus on how to build your application and not how an application should work, for example, with the camera on separate platforms. You have no worries about that. It takes all, the Ionic framework takes all the effort from you. Now, these are the basic technologies that Ionic and most of the hybrid frameworks are based. It's HTML, it's CSS, and JavaScript. So, Ionic is based on Angular. Angular is a JavaScript-based framework supported by Google, so it will be around for the next years. For example, the Gmail client, if you have access to the Gmail environment, is built on Angular. Angular is suitable to build one-page applications. Mobile applications are one-page applications in the very bottom level. SAS is a technology for generating style sheets. Style sheets are used for graphics, for the display of your application. Now, Ionic takes care of the look and feel of your application. You can see the same application, how it appears to iOS devices and to Android devices. This is pretty the same code, but you can see that there are differences on the display because Ionic displays separately a style sheet for the iOS and another style sheet for Android. And it does that because we want our applications to look as closest as native platform applications. So, okay, how it comes together. You build your application at the very first level. Ionic, Angular, the web view from Cordova, and the last compilation to a native application is all part of the framework. You have to worry only for this part. Now, let's see some of the components that Ionic provides us. Usually, the applications are list-based. We have a list of items, and this is a very basic component of the Ionic. Ionic gives us, this is the code. With only a piece of code, you can build this thing. Ionic gives you all the functionality behind this code. You can rearrange, for example, items. You can delete items, and many other things. Sorry? In the microphone, please.
Is it like a canvas that you have?
No, it's not canvas. It's the web. This is a web page. This is a web view component from Cordova. No, you can use canvas, but canvas sits over the web view component.
Okay. So you can drag and drop items inside.
Yes, yes. This, if I press, just a moment, reorder. Imagine that the cursor is my finger, so you can reorder the item as you wish. It's the same functionality. Lists with icons. This is just snippets of code to show you how simple it is to use the Ionic components. Navigation. Tabs. And this is the code to produce the 3 tabs. Pretty simple. Side menu. Click. This is a design pattern very common, at least in iOS applications. And this is the code to achieve this functionality. Okay, cast views is a little bit technical. There is Ionic framework provides us with some native functionality. For example, in iOS, I don't know about Android, I'm not sure, but in iOS we have functionality, swipe to go back. If we swipe from left to right, then the application goes to the previous screen. This, we can see it, I believe, here, something like this. This is a native iOS application function. These are some other items of Ionic framework. You can see, for example, checkboxes. You can see sliders, pop-ups to display messages to the user, some other elements, toggle buttons, list buttons, and many other things. Now, spinners, okay, I don't like it very much. Ionic provides us with icons, over 700 icons under MEI2015 license. MEI2015 license means that you can download the icons and use it in everything, in any case you want. Even you can build a product and sell it. We use icons in modern web development instead of fonts, sorry, instead of icons, because we have a variety of screen sizes, and we want, when the screen size changes, we want the icon to adapt the size of the screen. Over the last years, we used icons, images, but images are not fit very well because the resolution of an image is something constant. And font icons, on the other side, on the other hand, are vector-based, so we can resize them as we wish. Okay, there's more to Ionic. There is a command line tool called Ionic Command Line Interface. The Ionic Command Line Interface is our main hands-on subject. And I'm going to show you how you can use it to build from scratch an Ionic application. Okay, this is a little bit technical. There are many modules to do anything you want, from Touch ID. Touch ID is on the latest iPhones. I don't know if it is on Android yet, and allows you to unlock your iPhone, for example, by your fingertip. So even this is supported by Ionic. Or you can, for example, perform a Facebook login, or you can use the camera. For all these, Ionic provides you with components, with Cordova components, to communicate with the hardware device. Okay, there are some tools that we are going to see later on. There are even push notifications. Push notifications are small messages that an application can display to the user while the application is on the background, while it's not running. Most of the hybrid frameworks until now, such as the jQuery mobile framework, didn't support push notifications until now. I think Ionic is the only one hybrid framework that supports push notifications. I'm not sure, maybe there are other things. There is the Ionic View application that you will download in a while on your smartphones to run and emulate your application you're building. There is the Ionic Creator, an integrated development environment for building with applications with drag and drop. I don't like very much development environments. I'd like to do it all with code, but it's very useful for amateur users, for amateur developers. There is an active forum on Ionic website. You can ask questions to the community, get back answers. Ionic, some details about the Ionic adoptions. The most important thing here, for me at least, is that Ionic is in top 10 trending GitHub repositories. GitHub is the largest code repository of the world right now. Okay, what's next? Right now, Ionic is not in stable version. It's currently in development. The version that you are going to download in a while is the release candidate. There are some bugs, but the company behind Ionic works on these bugs. But it's a very promising framework. This is the version 2 of Ionic. I'm not going to stick here. Demo time. So, I want you to open your laptops. I don't see any movement. Oh, okay. Have you downloaded the scenario from the MEI website? Okay, this is the scenario. I want you to download it to have it in front of you. Okay, the first thing that we're going to need is Node.js. You can grab it and install it from here. And the Node, NPM is Node Package Manager program that is included with Node.js. So in order to follow me, you have to download and install Node.js. Perhaps we can give a minute or two and help users who have a problem. Sorry? Let's go. Depending on the platform, if you have a Windows machine, you download the Windows version, the Windows installer. If you have Linux or Macintosh, you download the... This is the download place. The link is on the scenario here. nodejs.org/download.
On the web page that you showed. Yeah, this one.
This one?
Can you try to download there the Windows installer?
Sorry? This is the Windows installer. 32-bit or 64.
Okay.
This is the Mac and the Linux binaries.
I was confused from the icons on top.
Yeah, it's a little bit confused, yes.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
I just installed it and I'm just looking at the scenario.
Who's talking? Okay.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay.
Everything looks fine, but it says like system information, Cordova CLI not installed, but everything else is fine. CLI,
Yes. We'll come a little, you follow the steps of the scenario?
Yeah, I'm following the step.
Just a moment, we'll come on this in a while. You have to install Cordova as well. NPM is Node Package Manager, which is included with installation of the Node.js. Now, after you complete the installation of the Node.js, you have to open a terminal. Is anybody who doesn't know how to use the terminal, the command line? Okay, command line is, I'm on a Mac. Okay, Linux is more or less the same. Windows is the command prompt window. It's something like this, a black window with white letters. We write commands in this window. Sorry? Spotlight, start typing terminal and press enter. Yes. CMD and press enter. Γιώργο, πάτα πάνω δεξιά το εικονίδιο με το μεγεθυντικό φακό ή χρηστή... Α, το κάνατε. Ωραία. Το Node.js δεν χρειάζεται... Το έχετε εγκαταστήσει? Δεν χρειάζεται command line, γι' αυτό είναι package στο Mac. You can verify that you have installed Node.js correctly by giving this command, node, .v, and this returns us the version of the Node.js, 0.12.3. It's okay if you have a little bit older version, it's the same thing. Minor differences. So, should we proceed? Okay, now, you have to install Ionic. How do we do that? Let's go back to the scenario. Here's the first scenario. You have to open a terminal and type this command, npm install g for globally Ionic. Before this, as I said before, you have to open a terminal or a command line in Windows. It's probably better if you are on a Mac or a Linux system to write before these commands the sudo keyword, which gives you administrator account privileges. I don't know if it's something similar in Windows, to be honest. So let's start. Sorry? No. We just work on a single terminal window. Sorry? You're talking about the Windows. Okay. Can you tell it again a little bit louder for those who have Windows machines?
You have to open an elevated command prompt.
Okay.
And usually when you open it via start and then run, you open it in an elevated way.
Okay, you have to right-click and run as administrator or something.
No, you just press start and then run and then type in CMD and that's an elevated command prompt.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Probably you want this command. Sudo is for giving us administrative privileges. NPM is the node package manager. Install is the command. G is the global flag. Ionic and Cordova. We want to install Ionic, library, and Cordova. It's okay if you install just Ionic, but if you want, you can install Cordova too. Do this from command line. Yes. Sorry? You can skip Cordova if you wish. We're not going to build, to actually build the application in Cordova. But you can install it if you want. Sorry? If you finish with the installation, you can verify that you have Ionic by tapping this command, Ionic, the V goes for version, and it returns the version of the Ionic library. Let's wait 1-2 minutes more. Type empty password. Oh. Try it without sudo. Oh, go to the accounts and just type a password. Just remember what you will type. How many of you are reached this step? 2 only? 3? 4? Good. Martha? Okay. Because now is where the fun begins. Sorry? Newer, yes, yes. 5.5. I'll make an update later on. You can also type this command, info, to gather some information about your environment. For example, I am on macOS, no Xcode installed. I have Ionic CLI is the Ionic command line interface. This is the version. Gulp is another necessary library, and some other things. Now, Χριστίνα, εντάξει? Okay. Make sure that you have installed correctly the Ionic by typing Ionic version. And now, let's start an application from scratch. I will create a folder called Ionic in my desktop.
Sorry. The installation on Windows doesn't work because the package that is being distributed on the website contains a certificate that doesn't work anymore. So
Sorry?
the certificate that is included with the Windows application version of it is not active anymore. So as a Windows user, you cannot download any package. It's giving an error
With
message.
NPM, with Node Package
with
Manager,
NPM.
you mean?
NPM gives a certificate error, so you cannot download anything.
Okay, I don't know the solution about this,
Well, I have
unfortunately.
a solution in here, but it's kind of technical because,
yes.
because you have to actually manually input it into the registry.
That's why I don't use Windows anymore.
Yeah. Well, Mac doesn't seem to be wonderful either, actually. Yeah.
Okay, let's not. So, create a folder and name it Ionic on your desktop. And navigate through the command line in this folder. Okay, right now it's an empty folder. Christina, okay? Okay. Now, we are going to build a skeleton application. Ionic offers us with some templates to use, and not only that, but we can use any template we want from GitHub, which is freely available on GitHub. Now, for example, this command, Ionic start my app tabs, will create a basic application with tabs. So let's start from that. There are an empty template, but you can use freely any template you want from GitHub. Now, let's go to our terminal again. Our folder is empty, so my app is the name that I give to my application. Tabs is the template that I want Ionic to use to build from scratch my application. So let's see. You see that downloading from GitHub is a normal template. So initializing a Cordova project, okay. And we can go back to our folder. Let's wait a few seconds to finish. Okay, some information. And now, this is the basic folder of my application. If you open this folder, you see several things in there. Some code files, some folders, some other things. We're not going to explain in detail all this. Just keep in mind that this is the basic folder of your application. Now, we have to go to change directory and go inside this folder. Okay. Did you reach this step? Great. Ne? Okay, I was on the Ionic folder. Okay? If I list the directory here, we can see that there is the newly created folder, my app. So if I type cd, change directory command, my app, I will go to this folder. Now I am in Ionic my app folder. Now, in the next steps. Yes. Now, how can we see what we've built so far? There is a command serve. Let's start. Serve. Press this. And voila, this is our application. In our browser, in an emulator inside browser. Let's make it a little more beautiful. Sorry? I didn't press, I gave the Ionic serve command. this starts a local server and serves the application. Now, let's go here in Chrome. I suggest to use Chrome for the demonstration. Type inspect element, click, type this, click this icon here, okay, pick up an iPhone model. This is Chrome Developer Tools. It allows you to emulate an environment of a smartphone, for a mobile application development. Now, I choose Apple iPhone 5, just reload, and voila. This is the application. Imagine that this part of the screen is your iPhone 5 screen. And this pointer here is your finger. And these are the tabs that the template you used makes for you. Sorry? You are in the web interface, yes. This is just to take a look on how your application will display on a... Okay. This is the Chrome Developer Tools. It's not a full environment for debugging. Okay. How many of you reached this step? Okay. Christina? No?
It is downloading.
Okay. Now, you can press Q to quit the server, the Ionic server, I mean, anytime, because you see now that you are not in a terminal environment anymore, you are in the Ionic server environment, local server environment. You can start playing with your code by editing this file. Yes. You have to keep in your mind that at the very bottom level is a one-page application. Nothing more, nothing less. So you add code, JavaScript, HTML code, I mean JavaScript, and style sheets to make your final application. Now, it's inside the www folder, it's index.html, it's our basic application file. There are some other files here, the templates. For example, these three files is each one for each tab that we built it before. It's tab account, tab chats, tab dash. Let's edit, for example.
Are we going to get instructions?
Sorry?
Are we going to get written instructions? Because it's kind of hard to follow.
Yes, there is. If you navigate to the MEI website, to the specific slot, you can see the scenario, this file. This is a PDF file. I have all steps written here.
Thank you.
So, let's write my name, save. I'm working on the tab account. So, save, close. Let's go to our emulator. Let's refresh. Tab account, and here's my name. Dimitris Spachos. This wasn't here before. So, how many of you reached this step? No. Just emulate your application in the browser. Now, I'm going to run a little bit because I want you to show some other things too. Now, let's go back to our terminal and type Q to quit. So we're back on our bus environment. The server now doesn't work. If you refresh the server, you see the web page is not available. So let's close it. Let's go back to the scenario. Now, we have built a basic skeleton application. You change the code, you do it whatever you like. You have to add platforms in the application. To add a platform in the application, you use the Ionic platform command. Is this command, Ionic platform. Let's add the two main platforms here. I believe that Ionic. They informed me that iOS is already exists because I am in a Mac environment. If you were in a Linux environment, probably the Android platform will exist. Now, if we go to our folder, to our application, inside the platforms folder, we see this folder that is for it holds some files necessary for the iOS build of the application. Ionic Android. Let's add Android now. Great. And if I go this, there is a new folder for the Android environment. So, what should we do next? If you just a moment. I am in the scenario 3. Yes. Now, if you're going to upload your application in Google Play or in Apple Store, you have first to build it as a binary. We will see how we can do that. But before building your application, you have to do some artwork because both stores requires that your application have some necessary image files. It's for the button screen, for the splash screen, such things. So Ionic provides us with tools to build all these icons because there are several sizes that you have to provide. Ionic provides us with tools to do this automatically. Let's see how. It's the resources command. If you type let's see where I am. Okay, Ionic resources. Okay, you have to hit. Yes, it's not working because I don't have an initial file here. We have to put a file either in PNG or PSD or AI format. Okay, you type this command, Ionic splash, to generate, this generates a basic, a folder named resources, and inside the folder, you also see two other folders, one for each platform we added before, Android and iOS, and inside each folder, there are not icons, and there are splash screens right now, a folder for splash screens and a folder for icons. Now, let's add some. This for the splash screens and this for the icon. Okay. Now, if we type let's see what we achieved. No, we didn't. Resources. Okay. I will put two icons on the resources folder. The one must be named icon, PNG, or PSD, or AI. The size must be at least this size, pretty big, because this is the base that all other icons will be generated, and another icon for the splash screens. This is even bigger. because we have devices with retina screens, we want very good images with very good resolution. So if you put the two initial files here, of course, these files, this is example files, but you have to create them for yourself. And even better, if you're not a graphic artist, you have to ask this from an expert, from a graphic designer, for example. Now, if you type Ionic Resources command starts building based on those two files, starts building all other necessary artwork for your application. It's going to take a while. Here are the sizes. This is automatically generated from the base file. Okay? Let's proceed. Sorry? Yes, I had already the icons, so I put them in a folder. You don't. So you can't use the Ionic resource because you have to put some icons in the resources folder. My mistake, I didn't upload the icons to download it and put it there. But I just wanted to show you how you can use the Ionic resources command to automatically generate the artwork, the necessary artwork for your applications. No, this is just example icons. You have to create your own icons. Each icon for... yes, if you find some. I don't know if they are available now.
But could you put them on the...
Yes, I will. I will upload the...
So we can
icons.
finish later on the exercise. So it would be really nice to have those.
Yes, I will upload it to the slots page, but it's really example icons.
Yeah, but just to get it through.
It's a PNG, an empty
Thank
PNG.
you.
Great. Let's go back to the scenario. Now, how we can run and emulate our application, not in a browser environment, but in our smartphones. We want, before distribute the application to the app stores, we want to test it, right? So we have to test it in an actual smartphone. Ionic provides us with the Ionic View application. Now, I want you to open your smartphones, either is Android or iPhones, open the App Store for the iOS or the Google Play for the Android phones, and search for Ionic View application, and download it and install it. This is the Ionic View application in the App Store. In the next step, after you install this Ionic View application to your mobile phones, I'm going to show you how you can test your application. You can actually run it in a smartphone to test it before distribution. I will provide you with a link because you will need to create an account for this. So this is the link, apps, Ionic.io. But this after you download the application and install it. So how many of you installed the application on the smartphones? Great. Now, you have to navigate to this link here and create an account. Just remember your email and password here. The link is on the slot page here. It's this link, apps.icon.io. Create an account here and log in. You will use the same credentials to log in to your Ionic View application you just downloaded on your smartphone. There are some tools to debug it. Yes, you put a single piece of code inside your application, and that returns you some data. I don't know how detailed are the data, though. But you can put a small piece of code, and some debugging data will be returned to you. Yes. No. Just some data, not breakpoints. So, I already logged in my apps environment. I have already uploaded the WHAAM application. I'm going to show you in a little while. But right now, I want you to show how we can upload the previous built application. Now, how many of you logged in Ionic apps and Ionic View on your smartphone? One, only, two, three, great. Now, if you open the Ionic View application on your smartphone, you'll see an empty, no list, no applications. Now, we can go to our command line and write Ionic upload command. It's going to ask us for the username and the password. Okay, I have already logged in, but you are the terminal, the Ionic command in the terminal are going to ask you for your username and your password of your Ionic View application. Now, let's go back and refresh this page. Here is the application. This is a unique ID of the application. Now, if I open the same Ionic View application on my smartphone and refresh it, I'll see the application here. And I can press it here, press View Up, it loads for the first time, and voila, this is my application. Yes? Any question? So, we started from scratch, and now we have our application loaded in our smartphone, ready to emulate and test. Anybody reached this step? This specific step, I mean? Anybody? No. Yes, okay. That's good.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The View application...
the Ionic View application.
Yeah. It's grayed out. I can put, step on the View app. I cannot select it.
You cannot select what?
You
upload...
View app.
Sorry, you uploaded the application?
Yes.
On the Ionic View?
Yes.
Okay, you opened the Ionic View application on your smartphone.
Yes.
Press on the application icon.
Yes.
Okay, and?
And then everything is gray.
There is you have an iPhone?
No.
An Android?
No.
Okay. Here, there is, for the first time, you can, there is a menu.
File. I can download file and delete application and done. The clear application data and View application, they are gray.
I'm not sure I understand. I want to see. You have to download it first and then press the View up. when opening the Ionic View application, you have to download your application for the first time on your smartphone and then press the View application to run it. So with this code, with this specific code, you can invite other users to test your application. This is before submitting to the app stores. Click on share and just put a separate list of emails from other users. A detailed email with detailed instructions on how to download the Ionic View application and open it will be sent automatically. So let's go back to our scenario. Any questions until now? No. The last step after you finish the development and the beta testing of your application is to build it, which is done by this command. I don't want you to run this command right now. This command, for example, builds the APK package for Android. Because it requires first to register as developer, pay some fee to the Google Play Store or to the App Store. It's $25, I think, for the Google Play Store and $100 and something for the App Store. It gives you a developer ID. You put it somewhere in your Ionic application in a configuration file, and after this, you can build your application. You have everything you need. You have the artwork, you have your code, you have your application, you have your developer ID, so you build it. After you build your application, you open, it's pretty straightforward. You open for example, for the Google Play, you open the developer console, you upload the application, you provide some information necessary for Google, such as description, some screenshots, and publish. That's all. Your application is up and running. This is an application that we made in our laboratory, the WHAAM application. It's, you can download it. It's on the Google Play for Android devices. In a few days, I believe it will be for iOS devices too. And the WHAAM application is built with these specific tools I just showed you. I think we are run out of time. Are there any questions until now? I showed you how to build an application from scratch, not, of course, in a very detailed level. You have to enter your own source code if you want your application to do some other things. But you can use this technique, this framework, the Ionic framework. For example, if you want to build a reference application, which is a basic list application, it's just writing some code. It's not even necessary HTML for this. So if you want to build a reference, let's say a medical reference application, I just told you how to do it. Are there any questions? Yes.
How do you archive things when you want to upload it to
Sorry, how to?
How do you archive things? I mean, because when you want to upload it to Apple Store, you need to follow a specific process for uploading your application in Apple Store. Archive
Yes,
so you have connection with Xcode with this platform.
You have, but you don't need actually the Xcode to upload the application. You just need this command.
So you have your building, and then you.
Yes, this will produce you not the executable, the binary file that you have to send to Apple.
Mm-hmm.
This binary file will contain the developer ID that Apple gave you before. Of course, in the App Store, you have to give some other information as well, which is out of the scope of the application, and that's all.
Do you know that if this platform supports both architectures, 32 and 64, because it's a new license? Okay.
Yes, it's based on Cordova, so it depends on the Cordova version that you are going to use.
Perfect.
Because at the very bottom, it communicates with hardware level using Cordova. Questions? Comments? Something? Okay, all necessary files are in the page slot. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Should I? Okay, thank you everybody for being here after so many interesting sessions. So I'm going to speak a little bit about how we can use games and social media for medical education. But first of all, let's go back a little bit on time. That's a village called Hinojos, where my grandfather was the GP. And imagine like 40, 50 years ago, how was medical education then, especially after you left the faculty. So my grandfather has the house full of books. And this actually was taking a lot of space. This is an encyclopedia Espasa. So this is actually just an encyclopedia. So everything was about books. You were getting books every now and then. Sometimes you get magazines. Forget about social media to connect with other peers because there were not any doctor in several villages. I actually had to go with the motorbike to the others. Nowadays, that's accessible for everybody and much more. So nowadays, doctors, they have access to huge amount of data, articles, games, and they are interacting with each other all the time. That's something that the previous generation actually didn't have or have very limited. Let's start speaking a little bit about gamification. And gamification is basically to use game techniques to promote a behavior. And in this case, we are going to speak how we can use gamification to enhance learning. But in order to explain you the concept, I will show you a video that explains it very well. Because we can use game technology without real games. Do you hear? Okay. No. One of the problems in medicine that is not so much about knowledge but behaviors. And everybody know that we have to wash our hands in the hospital. Everybody knows that we are supposed to throw the bottle in the bottle container, but people don't do it. So in here they make an experiment. They made the container a game. And another, you can see in that example that they have the surprise element to teach something, motivating people. And I will give you another example. It's in Spanish, but you will understand how the element of surprise actually help understanding feelings from patients.
Pero bueno, ¿qué haces aquí? Sí, hombre, ¿no te acuerdas de mí?
¿De qué?
Que no he cambiado tanto, hombre. ¿Y tú qué? ¿Pero y
She's asking if he remember her name. Or...
No sabía. Ay, ¿cuánto tiempo? ¿De verdad que no te acuerdas?
Ay, no recuerdo tuyo. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Bueno, pues nada, no te preocupes. Muchas gracias, ¿eh?
Ay.
Gracias. Gracias.
¡Ay, qué casualidad! ¿Qué tal? ¿No te acuerdas de mí? ¿No te acuerdas? ¿No me conoces? Bueno, gracias.
So the card said that that's how people with Alzheimer actually feels. So that was the trick they used to use surprise as part of the teaching of emotion from the patient. And now I will give you some examples more related to medical education. One of the apps that is out in the store that has more downloads is actually Pronoxis. It's case-based learning. They have more than 1 million downloads. They have in many different languages. And already they have collected more than 200 clinical cases. If you see here, they show you the patient case, like with very funny cartoons. Then they give an explanation, and after they tell you what is the case, then you can choose which diagnosis and techniques you want to use. Then they come up with the results of the, like for instance, the blood tests and stuff like that. Then you can suggest what to do, and at the end you can check your score to know what you have been doing wrong, and they explain the results. If you want to comment the results, you can join the community where there are many comments about those cases. This is highly successful, but it's very important the methods, how they make the games. So they had the game techniques, like they had the characters, the color, the points, and stuff like that, but they have a very robust way to generate the content for the game. First, there are users or the team that they choose good cases from the real practice. Then it's reviewed by a MD or surgeon. At the end, the case is peer-reviewed by others, and that's when they adapt it to the game. I will give you another example. This is a project that was involved in my startup, Salud Media. So we developed like 4 years ago with Vicente some kind of guidebook how to use social media for healthcare professionals. We made even an app where you can browse the content, but we realized that it was very poor to engage the users because at the end it's just a book. So together with a pharma company called Menarini, we came up with an idea. Why not to use that content that we already have in the PDF and in the app and to make it a game? So we make it like trivial game, and then we have all the different learning objectives. It was about privacy and the internet, social media, and we made many quizzes where you can collect points and also compete with others workers. So we were comparing the statistic of this app versus the other. The user spent, on average, it was 50% more time in the gamified version versus the more traditional book version. It's one thing that I would also like to explain. When we were developing the project, it was a little bit troublesome in the sense that the technical people, normally they know how to do games very well, but they had a lot of problem to understand the workflow of making educational material for healthcare professionals. So actually the project was delayed more because of the content than the software. It was more because the project manager knew a lot about technical issues, but underestimated the effort of making educational materials for medicine, in this case, pharmacies, and even more if you had to adapt it, because there is a huge process, especially if you are working with pharma company, because there is more legislation involved. Okay, this is not working. This is another example. In here you have many different cases to try to learn about the different specialty, and this is something that was done in the UK, and they are implementing several hospitals. So it's another example of how you can use case-based learning and quizzes to teach about things within the hospital. Another very common type of games are those are more based in virtual reality, so it's almost like a simulation put into a game. There have been quite many examples in USA for military health, actually have been published even in journals, because you need to train people on how to react in the battlefield, and that's something that is very hard to simulate, and you cannot send people there just to get training. You have to be already trained when you are in the battlefield, and also in emergencies. And lately has been also tested for the Ebola. I will show you the video.
Treat Ebola, and I said, sure, why not? My role over the last couple of weeks, besides helping to organize and recruit people, has been to build a basic level we're going to be using in a game engine called Unity. And so I've created one of these field hospitals in Unity. We're going to be taking those assets, and all these teams that are getting together for this event are going to build separate experiences. The overall goal of this event is to build 3 or 4, or hopefully more, but 3 or 4 prototype experiences that can be used to show how serious game simulations can help to augment more traditional training. You know, someone up in front of a group of people walking through a PowerPoint. So we're gonna try and go through some really hard stuff, like maybe how you take on and off suits, to maybe some more things that are a little different, like what is the environment like, how do glasses fog up, what's the sound like, and then into some things that are more practical about how do you mix the chlorine solution or deal with IV fluids. So we think that all these tools can be built in Unity and with the skills we have on hand. So, man, it's been, like I said, 2 weeks, and we have 3 days of just going for it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens and excited to work with everyone here.
This is also another example of a game that they have implemented like a lot of game dynamics and levels and stuff like that to train people to better diagnose patients with multiple sclerosis. I will show you now I will explain a little bit, and then I will show you the videos. And then this other one is a case that they are using virtual patients to teach healthcare professionals how to improve the communication for managing childhood obesity. Since those things are better in a video, I will show you. This is the case of multiple sclerosis. If you have noticed, you can try to choose which are the characteristics of the patient, the symptoms. I will show you the one that is teaching something more complex, so that is the patient-doctor communication.
In the country. Change Talk is a mobile app where health providers practice using motivational interviewing to change behaviors of patients around obesity risk factors. Change Talk is built as a virtual practice environment, and in it you assume the role of a doctor and decide what you want to say to a mother and her overweight son. Your goal is to find a way to break through their resistance to change and engage them in making a plan of action that they'll be motivated to carry out. And this family doesn't make it easy for you. The mom has been struggling with her own weight issues for years, so she doesn't really want to admit that her son might be at risk for health issues himself. And then the son has been bullied in school because of his weight, so it's an extremely sensitive topic for him. To help you achieve your goals in this role-play conversation, we give you a number of tools. For example, you get personalized feedback from a virtual coach. You have an on-screen meter that shows you how your decisions impact the patient's motivation to change. And if you want to experiment and try different approaches, there's also an undo button that lets you go back in time and try different pathways through the conversation.
We are so excited about Change Talk. We see this innovative approach as a new way to reach many healthcare providers and help them build practical motivational interviewing skills they can use on the job to bring real change in their patients' lives.
Now I will give you some examples about social media, but I'm not going to get so much into that because it's something that is evolving all the time. One of the things that are happening right now, especially if you look into YouTube and now with the Google Glass and many of the other Glass, that more and more people are sharing videos on how to integrate videos from surgery, in this case from autopsy, in social media to enhance medical education. But you can do things that are far more advanced. Like, for instance, in this case, you have like dynamic videos. I will try to find the sample. So how it works, that is after the video, you can choose what to do next. Okay, this no. I close the tab. So if I don't find it, that's okay. Anyway, I will just explain. So the way it works, with YouTube you can do many things. You can set up both buttons at the end. So when the video finish, you can click to see what will happen. Like for instance, if you do one thing, then you ask the student what will happen. The video showing something, and then here you can see the most likely result, and then you will see another video that is somehow making the graph of the different alternatives and choices. Also, one thing that you can make with YouTube videos is to put annotations. I have seen many examples where you can put annotation or the different body structure and anatomy, so that you are enhancing the video with the surgery at the same time that displaying it. Another thing that is growing quite a lot in social media is the case of massive open online courses. And here you have some example, one from the Ebola outbreak, so how to protect professionals, and also from the University of Tasmania in New Zealand, related to people with dementia. It's very hard nowadays to say this is one channel in social media and that's the other, because in most of those cases they are using YouTube, Twitter, everything is getting merged and blurry, so you cannot anymore say which channel is the one that is being used. And just to have a little bit of discussion, because we are already late, things that you need to take into account. Before even you think in social media or games, you need to know what you want to teach or which behavior you want to change. You need to know the skills and the outcomes. Then you can think on how technology can improve that, and you don't really have to just put technology because it's fashion. You really need to think first on your audience. And also try to think that those technologies are very easy to test. In most cases, you don't even have to install anything. So there is a huge room for innovation and trying new things. And please try to avoid what this cartoon is showing. Thank you. Is there any questions? Yeah, Vicente?
How does a medical doctor, there are some
Vicente.
very funny...
Tiene el micrófono detrás.
How do a medical doctor react versus those ideas? Because I guess that there are some freakies or the fans of technology, but that's fine. But most of the people of the GPs and medical doctors are in favor of those ideas. What's your experience? I know, but I would like you to share with the rest of the audience.
It depends a lot, especially, I don't know in other countries, but in Spain, there are some specialties that the average age of the doctor is 50. So those are going to be more reluctant to new technologies in general. And then there are others that, like oncology, tends to be younger. Some of them are more female and male, and gender is, for whatever the reason, also a driving factor. But what I have experienced from the audience when I have been teaching social media to healthcare professionals in hospital, one of the common questions is like, yeah, this is very good, but we are not able to access YouTube in my hospital because it's blocked. So many times, the problem is that there are other actors that they are blocking the use of social media in hospitals. Also, another problem that they face is that there are no clear guidelines what they are supposed to do in social media. Therefore, they don't want to take the risk to do something that is not allowed. There are nurses that have been fired for posting photos in Twitter. And so that's more with the social media. And if you're thinking with the games, there are already RCTs teaching a serious game for diabetes, for instance. They have good outcomes. I mean, they managed to improve the outcome of the patient, and that's from '97. So that's almost 20 years old, and still you don't see that game in the market. So it's more a business model problem. Like, we haven't really found a model to take all this innovation either to help patients or also medical education. There are very big players in medical education, and they don't seem to use this much because it's also a huge change from their current business model. Thank you. Any more comment or questions?
You saw before a serious game for improving the communication skills for medical professionals. So do you have any studies of showing this, the level of improvement, or not?
It was actually published,
yeah.
but I don't remember which was the outcome they measured, whether it was self-efficacy or I don't think it was body mass index, but they did a study, and there you had the reference.
Hi. You mentioned that we need to pay special attention to the educational aspects while developing applications and not just rely on technologies. Could you expand on what does that mean? Is it all the type of people should be involved in the project? What does that mean? Could you expand on that, please?
Yeah, I can elaborate a little bit more. For instance, it's very common that people, like, Twitter becomes fashion, and now people start using Twitter to transmit surgery, and then Google Glass. So it's a little bit jumping from one thing to the other. And some actors that they are more into this type of technology because it's so fashion, they are jumping more into the technology because it's fashion than anything else. And I think they should really spend more effort on trying to find out which is their target audience. I give an example always. Most of the hospitals in Spain and Europe, they are focusing on having Twitter because the hospital nearby there is using Twitter. And that's not the way they should think. They should think who are the main patients, and then they use the technology. In medical education, it's the same. If you are with the students in the medical faculty, you can introduce some more technology, but please don't try to do the same if you are doing continuous education to people that are over 50 years old and they are not using much technology. Also, even for the young people, it's amazing sometimes that it takes also a learning curve for them. So we cannot put 5 new type of technology at the same time, because otherwise you will end up spending 50% of your time telling them how to edit the Wikipedia, how to set up a Twitter account. So it's better that you put one technology at a time, and always for a reason. Any more questions? Okay, so maybe next speaker. Thank you.
So it's me again, but not only me this time. You're going also to take part in this last session. I will try to find out if you have some pens with you, and I will ask the same thing that Chrissy asked yesterday, to knock your pens on your desk, if you have one. They should be on your bag, on your conference, on your school bag. Are there any? There should be more. Okay, we have some, and we're going to use them. Thank you. So, we're going to do a storyboard of the school at the end, but I will start out with what a storyboarding is. I'm sure that some of you know really well what it is, but some other people haven't used it or have just heard it. Actually, it's nothing new. The people are using paintings in order to say stories many, many years ago. And even the ancient Greeks, we have some nice pictures saying stories about symposiums. There are a lot of definitions out there. I never like to stick to one definition, so I just put 2 here. So let's go with the first one, that the storyboards are visual organizer, typically a series of illustrations displayed in a sequence for the purpose of the pre-visualizing a video, web-based training, or interactive media sequence. A storyboard, on our own words, is to tell a story about something. And why we want to tell a story is really easy to get ideas on paper. It will help us organize our thoughts. If we are a lot of people, we can collaborate on paper and draw some ideas. We increase the effectiveness in communication. They don't cost. We just need some paper. It's easy for everybody. You don't have to be a drawer in order to draw a person. You can just do a cycle and 2 lines. And it's really good at giving you an early picture of the response guideline system if it's about designing a learning object, for example. There are three main story types. It's the passive, the active, and the interactive. As you can see, the first one is to tell a story to the user. And usually we just use some pictures, some sketches, some guidelines, a little bit of text. The second one is to make the user see a movie that hasn't actually been produced. So we can have some animations there. And the third one is to be really close to the final thing, but not exactly the final. For us today, we're going to stick mainly to the first one, because first, we don't have a lot of time. So we have to be really innovative. And we're going to try to create something like that in order to give the story of the school that we have. So how we come up with that? So we were wondering how to sum up the CAMEI Summer School and how we can find out if all the entities got some of the points of the school. The answer there was that everybody can tell us what they have learned. But the problem there was that we don't have some time to ask everyone individual. And we came up with that idea that we can do it in groups, and each group can sum up a subject of the school. But that is boring. So we can storyboard it. We can make a small story. Everybody can tell what they learned about a section, so we can split ourselves, and then we can connect all these stories in order to make a storyboard. But how we can storyboard a session? It's easy, and I'll just show you an example. But before that, have in mind that you have to have in mind the working theme, the learning objective. You should analyze the needs. You should identify the required knowledge. You should identify constraints. And as I said earlier, we can use text, we can draw images, we can do diagrams, and be yourself. Nobody is going to be judged about that, so just be creative. So this is one of the first storyboards that I was participating, and our objective is how we can review an online educational resource. So definitely we were thinking about do a scoping need analysis. Now I don't exactly remember what the other things were meaning, but definitely we need to communicate with people. We had to note down facts, figures, and language. For example, we understood that we want to do a review in content, but also a technical review. So, for example, in regards with the technical, we came across the idea that we have to check the license, we have to see if the application works, if the content of the grammatical text is correct, and we should also check with the end users. So taking each of those categories in a separate case or box, we came across that we should review the stakeholders. We should have a commitment with them in order to do it. We should check their availability. Regarding the technical, Definitely, we have to think about IP and Creative Commons. Otherwise, we have trouble with the law. Regarding the content, we should make sure that the jargon that we use is appropriate. Every specialty has its own terms. And that was the last picture. In order to do all that, some of the learning technologies in the group that I am part has to spend a lot of time and a lot of nights to finalize all that work. So, you don't have to download the template because I found quite, giving you a paper with 4 boxes, you can draw it yourselves. We can create a storyboard. So, how many of you have done a storyboard like that in the past? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please make sure that you are in different groups so you can somehow help the others. So, since you have pens, I can give you papers, and instead of the box you can use that. Actually, try to do at least 3, 4 boxes. We have to split in groups, and we have to choose a theme regarding the school. And we have, please be something like 5 to 8 people per group. And once you form the group, we can split the themes of the conference. So, once you split, try to think of one of the conference themes. Yes? I cannot hear you.
Can we ask for helping us person who have some experience in storyboarding?
Yes.
Somebody want to help us? Please, thank you.
I'm not a big expert.
Yes, but...
Yeah, you have to pick one topic of the school first and try to storyboard this topic. I know that the time is pressing us, but let's say something like 15, 20 minutes maximum. So at the end, we can have the chance also to present your topics.
Okay, so
I have a question.
How we...
Yes? We need more papers that are here. We
What's your first language?
My first language is Ukrainian.
Ukrainian. So somebody comes to your clinic and they don't speak Ukrainian. So could we think of a little something that, thinking about your linguistics, that might help, a little story that might help them talk to you if they don't speak Ukrainian, which I don't. So is that a kind of a topic? I think we just got to come up with something. So. And that kind of covers our three areas.
So kind of our behavior, what shall we do in this situation?
Yes, so what would we do? Yes, so imagine I come to the clinic and I only speak English and you only speak Ukrainian. I know that's not true, but for the purposes of this. So,
Что можно сделать? Он не говорит, да. Perhaps it is the first thing not of the doctor, but from this patient. He must somehow express his complaints.
Yes. So could you perhaps have some cards that have, something in Ukrainian?
Some pictures, like a
yes,
to show a man and ask him
where is the pain. Yes, so I mean you could sort of...
But complaints, complication, etiology, pathogen, different diseases, there are many notes, medicines.
Well, let's think of something simple that is visual. What about a rash? Or something.
Пришел, допустим, у него там какие-то зубы боли, да? Some itching, for example.
Yeah, itching, yeah, that's a good one. So they come and they can't speak, but they can show you that.
You ask him in Ukrainian, что вас беспокоит? Он смотрит, не понимает. He shows you. Что ты будешь дальше делать?
You could have some cards.
Карточки какие-то можно использовать?
Карточки.
If she prepared for that. If
patient don't speak my language, yeah? Understand.
And she doesn't know that.
Are you a general practitioner? So you see
a surgeon.
A surgeon, right. So what would they come to see you for? What particular clinical area is your
clinical area? Physical surgeon 5 years and now general surgeon. But if patient, I have a patient who don't speak Ukrainian, don't speak Russian,
Kazakhstan.
Speak patient with Kazakh language. Be right. Speak.
And point to things and
show his, for example, his arms.
Difficult but interesting.
Well, that's what I was just thinking, because that fits in with your linguistic part, doesn't it? So we could have...
Какие карточки должны быть или что?
Да. What kind of cards you must have? All our actions.
Well, I would do it on... I think I would use a computer, because then you can pull up resources that are already there. So rather than making them yourself.
Now, we have dictionaries in our
mobile
phones,
yes.
In iPads, perhaps notebooks, and somehow choose.
Yes, so they could find the English, and you could then find it in the dictionary, and then point. Because when I was in Sweden, when I was a teenager, the family I stayed with spoke very little English, and we spent our whole time conversing by having a Swedish-English dictionary, and I'd find it in English and then point to what it said in Swedish, so they knew that's what I meant, and then they'd find the answer in Swedish, and I'd read it in English, and that worked.
Even now in this, she is using this.
Let's join. No, do join in. But we're trying to tease our interest, so we're thinking of, because we don't know how to do it for them, we couldn't see how to make a story easily. So this lady's a doctor, this lady's a linguist, so we're imagining that somebody's come to the clinic who doesn't speak Ukrainian or Russian.
We're using Hinge, or we're using something surgical.
At the moment we're using Hinge, but we're just wondering whether we should be going to something surgical. Yes, and you could have diagrams of the vascular system.
Some movements of arms.
Maybe write for patient, maybe draw for
For
patient.
So I'm hopeless at drawing. So you can fill in these boxes. So we want.
What is the boxes?
This is the story. So the first one will be you and the patient, the sort of first meeting, and then I think the next one will be you understanding how things
Speak about anamnesis.
Yes.
Maybe with patient anamnesis.
And maybe
What
then
happened?
complaints. Yes, and so you try to talk to each other, but you don't have common language. So then you get out an iPad or something. And what we're thinking is that one person can find a dictionary, and one person can find a language, and then the other one will know what they mean. And then we're thinking to go on that to when it's becoming more obvious what the problem is. So what's your name? What's your name? Olga. Olga. Then Olga will start drawing pictures or finding pictures of the vascular system to help explain to the
Maybe
patient.
pictures, maybe write for patient and translation.
Yes, true. Yes, you could use it, so you could write and then use Google Translate to find the answer. So we're going for something that's about the vascular system. Oh, that's good, because that's the bit I didn't want to do. Sometimes you just
So we're doing intravascular system.
vascular system.
Оля, при сосудистом на коже какие могут проявления? Нечистоты. Я сказала, что зуд, а может быть что-то другое.
Нет, при сосудистом заболевании.
So what's it
Бледность.
Is it likely to be their heart?
Maybe
No.
if patient
Even
has
skin. It may be very cold.
If patient
Blue.
has a problem with maybe have thrombosis, has problem with vascular system, then maybe
Not itchy, but color.
But color. So
Color and
temperature
of skin.
Temperature of skin, color of skin, pain, pain because about pain, to speak.
you can have some words. You can have some words with
What is?
This is the hand being cold. It's very good. We needed an artist for this. So we're thinking of a tablet, iPad or something would be quite good.
Может использовать что-то, планшет или вот телефон.
Or if you've got a phone, we could do a phone. Can we show some how they're using different languages?
I see this problem. Where is it?
He's perhaps crying, he's some sounds.
That's good.
No idea what they're saying. So he gets it.
Dictionary.
Electronic dictionary.
What happened? Station, what happened?
То, что у наших групп все время будет что-то похожее всех. From there, our group, here, our group, there, and there. I think the situation will be much the same.
Not the same.
I think so.
Is our role.
Okay, so cranial-neck, first stroke, patients no idea what they're saying, got to bring down the iPad, say it on the iPad, it's not right, patients, okay, I get that, smiling again, feeling
We want a light bulb over their head. job over there.
Naši pana su pomogli. Teško lovio. It's a good job you can speak English. It's a good job you can speak English. We really would be in this situation, would we? I'd have to get my phone out. Having to
Only 6 cards. 6.
He had 6 boxes, that's why I went for 6. So that's the business building.
Then the doctor comes over and goes like, no.
We want a light bulb.
This patient speak.
So
Yes.
the
So this is the doctor doesn't speak, shows the iPad, and then they understand. And then here they swap over. And now the doctor has the light bulb.
arrows.
Arrows from doctor to patient, from patient to doctor.
Yes, that's what I do.
Maybe one card, and then card diagnostic, and then card treatment. Diagnostic methods, then treatment.
So what would your treatment be, most likely?
Treatment, surgical treatment.
Yes. So what do you want the person lying on it? In the operating theatre. Perhaps you could put some of the calendar to show that this was kind of, I don't know, like a month apart or something. Would it take that long to then have treatment? What would they have, a stent or? I don't know if you have the blood vessel is blocked. Put in a metal piece.
No, you put catheter and into vessel, and it's a surgical treatment, and take
pull out the part, right.
Как перелом.
No,
No, I know. It's just strand. Yeah.
But they'd have a surgical stocking on afterwards, would they?
On the bandage in the post-operative, it's a small.
It's small. Oh, we've got to make that.
Not all leg.
No.
Trying to get across the idea of healing post-surgery, but okay.
Not post-operative one. And maybe right patient running from
No, because then you think she's running away, that she's not.
Maybe patient with clover.
The doctor's really happy as well. We can have the doctor with a big smile.
Smile for doctor.
Do the doctor put them on there as well?
Yes. The doctor's really happy as well.
Use 2 minutes to summarize what we have.
Yeah.
So we can proceed with the last step to see what we have drawn.
Very good.
Yes.
Just saying 30 seconds about their experience. Okay?
30 minutes, 1 hour. 30 minutes. Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. I just thought it might be. Вот тут я что-то вроде слепнет, не то улица блестит, где-то путаю времена, пофиг. Я стопор. Там Даша прикольничает.
Τέλεια.
Нужно тоже показать, надо.
Он фотоет все.
And here you may.
We haven't done our last block. There we are. But it tells the story of something. Perhaps we should. I'm going to put authored by. Sorry, what's your name?
Galina Filatova.
Galina. Is that Galina? G-A-L.
Stathis? Tell him to
You tell him.
renew.
Fresh, please.
We are already on Twitter. We are already on Twitter.
Very good.
Oh. Are you?
Yeah.
From the UK? From European
So,
healthcare education. I teach nursing students healthcare support workers.
You go here.
Oh, right. And where are you based?
I got a.
Okay. Let's start with that I found first. Would you like just take 30 seconds to describe?
No, you go for it.
well, this is Chrissy's artwork,
Oh, we did it together.
and just impressions. Arrival in the middle. In the middle circle, things that are happening, things like watching people's heads as they watch the screen, linking with other people, having coffee, collaborating, networks, and so on. And then the outer circle is, where do we go from here?
Thank you. So, what's the next? I'll go to my profile so I can take them from there. Okay. This is yours.
So that's a game-based intervention for smoking cessation. So the main barriers were people that are not very concerned with their health. They are also very concerned of anxiety for quitting smoking. So they are lacking the motivation. So what we will do is an app where you can get points when you exercise, because that will help you to reduce your anxiety. Also, you get even more points if you give good advice to others to quit smoking and exercising more. So if they do better after you give a tip, then you get even more points. And then all those points are collected so that we can save the rainforest, because they are cutting many trees to grow tobacco. And also you will get a ticket for a lottery of a romantic dinner.
So, go here. Okay, should we start with this one?
Okay, this one is ours. The first part of the picture is we have a student, and what we would like to learn is what is virtual technology, the use of virtual technology to teach the students. So we have colleagues who have traveled to the professors, lecturers, teachers who have traveled 4,500 kilometers to Greece, to CAMEI School. And we decided to present our impressions on the lecture of Millennium Hospital for Education Surgeons. So what we expect is to see how virtual technologies are interacting together with in clinical science, therapy, surgeons, all of these topics. What we have found out, what we have learned, that there is a game environment which is for students for their learning. First they learn, then they practice, which means they are self-studying, then they self-assess themselves, and then the main point is that you start with a game and then you get a student, a future doctor, to work in a real life through the virtual technology. The main outcome here is that the patient safety, the students learn the future doctor responsibility. It is very close to practice, and students get confident through the game. So what we are going to do is that we are going to fly back and to make this our students happy, to show them this technology, and also to integrate it into our teaching practice. So that's why there is a patient in bed connected to the computer, and a happy student. Thank you.
Hello, this is called No Common Language When You're in Hospital, and it's a scenario to help students think creatively about what they might do if they're in that situation. So the first image shows the patient turning up and the clock showing the time ticking, and they come into the surgeon and point to the fact that their leg has gone blue and is rather tingly, but the doctor's not able to, they're not able to explain what the problem is. So the next image shows the doctor talks to the patient, but the patient is totally bemused because they don't understand the language at all. So the doctor then takes out their iPad and asks them questions in their language, which in this case is Ukrainian, and then the patient is able to use Google Translate to be able to understand what the doctor's asking them. And in the next one, you can see they're having a conversation. So now the patient is understanding the doctor and the doctor's understanding the patient. And we'd want it so that you could have that iPad in the virtual scenario to be able to select any language and come up with a proper dialogue between the two. And then the last image shows that the surgeon has been able to do the angioplasty, the patient's now able to go home. We couldn't quite get them running, but that was the idea, that the solution's been solved and it's only taken 35 minutes, despite the fact that to start with, they couldn't communicate at all.
Okay, it's I. First, what is CAMEI? Maybe this event interesting or not. We work in parallel session, EPBL.net, and also in free time goes to amphitheater 1 and work on this lecture. And take part in interesting discussion and improve our skills in game technology, storyboarding, and some other. And really, CAMEI, my resolution, is a good event and help improve our skills in different technologies and help us to teach students as new.
Thank you.
So we did a storyboard about what we learned from delivering educational resources. And the first one shows how individuals can learn using their tablets, so such as workplace-based assessment or using apps on their mobiles. Going on to collaborative learning around a small group type session. So that's things like PBL virtual patients. And then finally, that goes on to delivering educational resources to the world via MOOCs using edX, Coursera, FutureLearn, and things like that.
Well, this is the storyboard from also a PBL.net parallel session, and this is how PBL session looks like and how it goes. Firstly, the group of students are exposed to first part of information, patient information, and after that they discuss among each other this information with focus on key information, identifying key information, generating hypotheses, and also identifying learning objectives. And during, if they are confused in the process, or if the process stops in this very moment, PBL tutor interferes with facilitative questions, directing discussion, and the next one is the process is represented on the whiteboard. Students are writing the information on the whiteboard, and then the second part, part 2 of the patient information continues, and the process continues. But that's all that we managed to attempt to draw. Thank you. This is the same process, but with text.
Is there any that we didn't solve? So, before ending, I would like to remind you about the evaluation that exists on
CAMEI Summer School program.
if you go in the website of CAMEI, the summer school, into the program, and if you are logged in to the system, Dimitri?
Yes. In the last session, day 2 evaluation.
If you go, actually you can go, you have to go to all sessions, just click at one of them, and how do you go to evaluation?
No, you go to the CAMEI Summer School program.
Yes.
Thursday. At the very bottom of the screen,
okay,
there is a session named Day 2 Evaluation.